Alright everybody, welcome back to the stream. I hope you're having a good morning, evening, day, anything today. Welcome back. How's it? How's life? So basically today, if you saw the announcement, we probably will be drawing something wine related, and I don't really know why. There is no specific reason, but also why not? I thought for December, I made myself a challenge to draw every day, and I wanted to pick a topic, and I thought maybe wine is a good topic. Why not? And then I kind of brainstormed a little bit, some ideas about what it could be, and I think like every day it will be just a different thing for like winery kind of. So I thought maybe we start off with some landscapes, because we haven't done that in a while. And well, you know, as always on these streams, if you're drawing along, it doesn't have to be necessarily the same topic. It could be, you know, like if it's wine, you can draw wineries, or you can draw wine bottles, or, you know, basically anything wine related, barrels, or just drunk people. Good morning, Dalamist. Nice to see new faces here. Alright, so as always, let's start with some references. And if you want to see the same references I will be showing in a second, just type !refs in the chat and you will get the references. So I created this Pinterest board again with some of the like wine labels, but most importantly the kind of wine making region landscapes, and there are a lot of them in the world. Obviously they're all different and have different soils and characteristics, but more often than not they're hills, maybe with mountains somewhere around. Also quite often they're located on the river banks alongside yeah, like when there are hilly river banks, seems to be a very good place for a winery. So I thought maybe we do some thumbnails and then do a bigger piece, and then maybe we'll even have time for watercolor, you know. Let's see how it goes. So as I was thinking about this winery project, I thought there would be maybe like a this will be obviously just like a first sketch, we'll see how it goes later, but like there should be like a winery, kind of like the winemaking place with maybe a big barrel where they stomp wine or press, maybe some like extra chambers, and then there could be like a road that leads down, and then down the valley kind of there will be a rows of wine in all directions from this place. And if you look in the references, you will see that they're often, you know, in kind of look like patchwork from above. Let's see. Here they're actually, most of them are just parallel, but you can see like sometimes they're a little bit off, maybe not as extreme as I did here, but that currently doesn't matter much. So yeah, I was thinking maybe there will be like a actually winemaking place here with maybe extra storage room for wine bottles and these presses, and then down the road there could be like a tavern or something like that where people can actually enjoy the freshly pressed wine. Maybe there is also a little guest house or like stables or something like that. There probably are sheds around the vineyards, so we can also add those. So if we look from above, that's probably what I would draw. But we're not drawing it from above. We will be doing a landscape painting, so let's try to think a little bit about the composition of this piece. Thinking that maybe the point of view will be somewhere. Either this can be really long. Like there could be many hills in between the villa itself and a tavern. So one cool point of view could be from here, like from kind of like if you pass the tavern, because then we can have like a big piece of the house somewhere here. Maybe there is like a part of stables showing through. Maybe there is a horse or something like that. So, and then yeah, you would have these like hills in between, and then somewhere further on the horizon line, closer to the horizon line, there is this villa with wine presses and maybe some, I don't know, some sort of characteristics, maybe like a little tower, and there would be a road coming from it. And of course the rows of wine grapes. I guess it could be also fun to come up with a character who, you know, maybe the owner of the winery, or could be the like it could be also the tavern maker, right? But maybe like the owner of, or a family of the owners. Could be a whole project in itself. So maybe something sort of like these. There could be like a barrel here, a barrel here to just create some more depth maybe. I don't really like that it's kind of so even on the sides. So maybe we drag a little bit more of these houses and see if we can maybe make the composition a little bit better. I was watching one of the YouTube video channels. It's called Phil's Design Corner. If you don't know that, you should absolutely check it out, because it's full of great techniques and tips on digital art and illustration in general, and concept art and stuff like that. And one of the tips he gave there was that when you're drawing thumbnails, leave space around them, because you can come back to it and take another look and realize that maybe your composition sucks, and instead of redrawing the whole thing, you can just like expand it and try to find a better composition, maybe, you know, like make it wider, let's say, or taller, or whatever will work for you. So that seems to be a good tip. It already paid off. So we'll have these barrels here on the foreground. Maybe there could be sort of like mountains on the background there. It's always good to have foreground, midground and background. In my case, I only kind of have foreground and background. So I will need to add something like here to let the eye travel kind of more naturally. So if this is the back side of the tavern, maybe it's, first of all, maybe it's sticking out a little bit more, and then it could be like a little window there. Or maybe there is like a oh yeah, maybe somewhere on the mid-ground behind the tavern, on the edge of the hill, kind of like here. So this will be our foreground, this will be kind of like mid-ground, and this will be background. So could be that somewhere here there is like a bed, well, not bed, like a clothing drying line, whatever it's called, with some clothes on them. Maybe there is like a big paddle of water, or like a well maybe. And then we move this a little bit further down, so we kind of raise the horizon line a little bit, move the hills there, so we have some space for this, for the clothes and the well. And then somewhere here there will be this winery. With these vines in all directions, kind of. Right, so we have our foreground, maybe not that wide, but a little wider than before. And we can make it a little bit taller as well. So this will be our foreground, this. I don't know if I will draw the horse because I'm not in the mood for animal drawings. And to be honest, my animal anatomy skills are very, let's say, rudimental, maybe. Alright, so I'm thinking about something like that. Maybe we'll make it more interesting down the line with like some more details, but in general, like if this is stables, this is winery, like maybe press here. It could also have a windmill theoretically, maybe, to help pressing the wine. So let's see. Hola Nervan, welcome to the stream. We're doing a winery landscape today. It's gonna be something. Well, we did houses last time, but you know, maybe it's not really houses this time. It's more like a landscape painting then. I often use the sides of the paper block, you know, to align your arm against, and it helps. Like if you keep it kind of steady, it helps drawing parallel lines at least to the canvas. You can even measure distance like that if you want to have it like right in the center. But in case you don't have a ruler, or you don't want to use the ruler for some reason, this I feel like is also a perfectly fine way to draw. We'll be probably going across our little sketch here. We'll see, maybe we'll keep it for now. I think I will just wanted to lighten it up, but oh yeah, there we go. Just use some kneaded eraser to remove some of these parts. I kind of tend to leave all the like notes on the sides and thumbnails and plans because I don't know, like I really like what it adds to the overall look afterwards, you know, like when you have kind of your whole thought process on one page, you know. Okay, let's say this is our horizon line. Always start with the horizon line. And then maybe I think it will be 2 vanishing points. 1. Yeah, probably just 1. Somewhere close to the middle, because I don't want any of the houses to distort too much. But you'll probably see more of this house, so I can move it a little bit to the left, somewhere here. Then I will do the kind of standard grid, just to help place stuff in perspective. So maybe we have one house sticking out here, kind of like this. Maybe there is, I guess, like some barrels along the line here, along the side of the house. The end of the cliff or the hill will probably be somewhere, let's say here. So the road will go kind of that way, and then it will appear on the hills down the line. There could be like maybe some hills lower than this one, some hills are higher. Yeah, I actually like that. Like one of the hills can be sort of with a little sub hill, like it goes, then goes flat, and then kind of rises even more. Because then we can place our house on this flat part, and still have something interesting going on there above it. Again, this is the I'm sorry. This is the place where looking at the references of the landscapes helps, because then you can kind of see how these hills overlap each other and like what's the effect. What's also important while looking at the references is to notice things like what you would need for painting later. For instance, here you will see that first of all, the further it gets, the brighter it gets and less saturated because of the atmospheric perspective. And second of all, you will see that the hills on the far, they're darker at the top, all of them, and sort of brighter and less saturated, less detailed down below. That's probably because there is less light in between the hills. So these are kind of the things that is very important to pick up during the reference phase. So maybe there are like another few hills there. Maybe they end up being mountains somewhere even further. So this will be the road that goes from this tavern to the winery. We need... I'm using these guides to kind of at least roughly estimate how my buildings will be positioned in the perspective. With that specific vanishing point. Maybe the stables are, like the roof should be quite tall, I think. Maybe like this. I think I want kind of less of that actually. So maybe something like this. And then of course it will be the other side of this roof will be parallel to the ground or horizontal. This landscape, you mean? Nervan said it's a nice landscape. Hard to tell because there is no... It doesn't say it on Pinterest, but looking at the cypress trees here and the style of this little villa looks kind of like some Mediterranean place. Hard to tell. Val d'Orcia. So I don't know. Could be Tuscany or so. Yes, I'm thinking maybe something along these lines. And then maybe the line for the rails alongside these stables. Maybe there is a horse tied to it. I don't know, something like this. And it's also kind of good, I think, sometimes to draw through your frame, just to have a better grasp of what you're doing and where is everything, and also it gives you a possibility to change the composition a little bit. So if these barrels are standing next to each other in perspective, then of course they will align with the same line that goes to the vanishing point. So they have to touch that line, both circles, or even three if we have three barrels. Don't think this one will fit, but doesn't matter really. So we have this house here. This probably is kind of like a cellar, not really a cellar, but half a floor, because if this is a barrel, this can't really be the second floor, right? Because barrels are not that huge usually. And of course the lower the oval, the more open it will be. So, or the lower or the high, basically the further from the horizon line this circle is on the vertical scale, the more open it will be. That's why it's kind of important to keep in mind when drawing cylinders or barrels, and that's in this case. I'm not really good at drawing circles and ellipses, but you know, I need to draw them, so there's kind of no other choice. So this will be our maybe somewhere here will be the second. Like if it's half a level and this, maybe this whole thing is, oh, it's tough to imagine what it is. How, like lately I'm trying to concentrate a little bit more on the realism of the scale. So I'm trying to kind of keep in mind how different objects scale with distance, like in perspective. But that's really time consuming, you know, like you have to measure it here, then translate it like on this plane or in any plane that you need to, you know, like right further closer to the horizon line and draw the lines constructed, and sometimes it looks good at the end, but in general it's usually time consuming. So I think this will be kind of where things stand right now. So this will be the point where the stables start. This is kind of too small for the horse, then it will be much bigger, I guess. If you compare a horse to a barrel, who will win? That's the question. All right, so we have some sort of an idea here how this will go. So maybe there is a feeder for the horse here. I'm just thinking about like what to put on the foreground to make it more interesting. At least, you know, like if imagine this whole thing is just black. It should be still visually appealing to, like the silhouette of it should be interesting enough to drag the eye into the composition. Maybe here lays some sort of like a little crate. Or something like this. Don't know, just kind of brainstorming here, really. It starts to distort the closer it gets to the viewer. That's the downside of having big scale objects close to the viewer. So maybe there are huge clouds in the background instead of mountains. Or clouds and mountains, who knows. Then this winery itself, maybe it's standing somewhere here. I mentioned a windmill that could be cool to have, so maybe there is a windmill up the hill. And then a house kind of connected to it. And maybe there is like a press or some sort of, I don't know, maybe a storage barrel. Could be another house in front of it. And then a road down. Everything kind of turned out much bigger than I expected. Like here it sort of is far away, but on the bigger picture it turned out to be bigger. Can't always control it. So I'm thinking about lightening up a little bit some lines here, just to make it less confusing for the viewers rather than for myself. Because I'm sort of used to having this mess of lines everywhere. Then maybe we have these. What can we have here? Maybe there could be like a how do you call it? Like a rail? No, side rail? Just trying to measure the size of these poles. To make sure they follow the right scale. Looks a bit weird, right? So there are these poles here, and then they get smaller. Something like this. Does this make sense? Kind of. And there's just simple rope, just to indicate where one property starts and another begins, maybe. Don't think it can protect from anything really, but there could be these bedsheet clothes. Oh, bedsheet clothes. Like a drying. Oh, how do you call it? Drying line. Clothesline. You know what I mean. The string that hangs there to dry the clothes after washing. Something along these lines. And what else could be there? Maybe like the, since it's a tavern, like, okay, we have barrels, we have maybe bed sheets hanging, drying here. We'll have a horse eating, or not eating, just chilling here. What else can we have? Well, this drying thing obviously needs a big crate or like a bathtub kind of thing, where it was all was washed, kind of. Maybe something like this. Something along these lines. Maybe there is even some water in there. There could be like a little bucket of water here as well, or for water. Alright, something like this, like a windmill. It's nice to have a windmill on the hill, because the silhouette of the windmill is really recognizable and kinda cool. More interesting than just, you know, a regular tower or a house. So there could be also some trees growing around it, but maybe not cypress trees, not to put it in, you know, very specific region, but just other kind of trees. Maybe some just bushes around the villa. that happens. All right. Something like this. Maybe some, not really cypress trees, but kind of small cypress-ish like trees. Then obviously here will be the gates. And then like a road going down. And then the vineyards. Alongside the hills. Trying to keep them like in different kind of planes, but always making sure that they sort of follow the hillside. Just so they don't look too out of place. Maybe there are more like these. I don't know. We'll see when we get there, but something like that for now, I guess. So we have this hay for the horse. Hanging clothes, maybe like some water paddles underneath them. Don't know. But we still have some space here where we can maybe place something interesting as well. And the road can get wider much quicker, I guess. Like this. We can make, first of all, this hill a little bit more steep. This one in front. What do you say, guys? What can we add more to the backside of the tavern? Maybe some crates, but it's kinda strange. I think they will look a little weird here. There could be another, I don't know, maybe there is just like a tree or some bushes hanging out here, growing on the hill. I don't know, maybe something like this. There could be even a little kind of like the not summer house, but these little open houses where you can just sit and drink your tea and read. Or maybe there is like a little shrine. Could be like a little shrine stone here with some symbols on it. For no particular reason, kind of just because I like these fantasy shrines. I think it's a good reason. Good enough. Alright. So now we have our thumbnail. I will take a picture of it for future, just to show other people on Instagram the process, if they don't want to watch the video on YouTube, you know, because they can. Here could be maybe like a crate of, I don't know, potatoes or some sort of like round things. Something like that. Maybe there is like a window sticking out here a little bit, just to indicate that this is a place where some people live sometimes. You know, just a rough place. Little birds in the distance. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. First of all, let's make the shrine a little bigger. Just to break the horizon line, I think. That would be nice. And maybe a shrine is like a plank of wood. With some sort of like a circle of stone in front of it. Don't know. Just making stuff up on the go, I guess. Birds, maybe here some. Looks more like a dragon helicopter, but that's a bird in the distance, okay? This one is too big. Need to make them smaller. Something like that. Alright, now when we have this rough sketch, we took a picture of it for future in case we mess up the next step. Now I will just, using this kneaded eraser, make everything lighter. Kind of like that. That's why kneaded eraser is so useful when you're drawing with pencil. You can also do a lot of mask. Try again. You almost got it. All right, so we still have some time, so I think I will first go with the pencil again, just doing a more clean sketch. And when that's done, I will do the outline with my Tombow pen, which I really like. Which ink is waterproof, I think, as far as I remember. Which helps me to watercolor it later. Oh, you want me to isolate the frame? Let's try. Just a second. Mosk suggested to put 4 white sheets around the frame. Just to see what it is. Outline immediately. Maybe that's too brave. Something like this. Maybe we'll make it a little more like this later down the line. Yeah, I think a little bigger. Whoops, A little bigger would be better. What do you say, guys? Go with straight with ink pen and outline the stuff? Or do another pencil pass? I usually do another pencil pass just to make sure that it's all aligned well, and you know, just to make sure that the composition is fine and all that. But this time, let's be brave. And go with what the crowd wants. Alright, something like this. Hey Musk, by the way, good morning. So let's have some part of this maybe sticking out, and since it's right on the horizon lane, you won't see the bottom part of it. So alright, let's do some little windows here. Is anyone drawing something along? Something wine related? Or maybe something non-related? As always, I'm really curious. Being brave with ink pen often leads to having some messy lines like that, but that's what it is about, kind of. Let's make this a basket, actually. Maybe it's a basket of... We wouldn't put a basket of bread on the alleyway, is it? Like outside of the tavern. What basket of... The couch is too comfortable to get up and draw. Yeah, that's a common problem. What do you think could be in this basket? And I'm doing it in these like weird little lines just to maybe indicate the fact that it's a basket a little bit better, but I'm not sure it's working. Also, let's switch to the close-up view. I haven't had that one in a while. Okay. Bread. Okay, we can have bread, yeah. can do bread, it's okay. Something like this maybe. And just to make sure that nobody says it's not bread, we'll add these characteristic lines to it. Now it's definitely bread. It's kind of like a ciabatta, I think, right? I usually add textures later down the line, but this time let's just add a little bit of this basket texture to this basket, so it's more recognizable what it is. And I don't really know how to do basket texture, so I'm sort of just improvising with these lines in all directions, because when you weave the basket you kind of go crisscross, right? Something like that. I don't know. Alright, not gonna spend too much time on this one corner. Let's move along a little bit. Alright, something like this. I drew kind of too much of this barrel, but can't change it anymore. Something like this. Maybe here is not the, and not a barrel, but like a crate. Just to make it a little bit different from these two. Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's great. Looks a bit weird, and I think you didn't see the last part of it. Sorry about that. All right, let's actually move along a little bit. It's spending too much time in this one corner. You would be able to see the top of this roof and also the bottom of it. Is it true? If that's the vanishing point, yeah, that's kind of true. And because of that, I need to make sure, like, I think this roof is kind of like a hay roof, dry grass with what is it, resin or oil, something like that. So I don't want it to be the tile roof like I kind of always have in my drawings, which is a little annoying sometimes. Need to leave some place for the overlapping objects. Maybe there is this stack of hay for the horse. Trying to make it look like hay. Maybe something like this, don't know. I'm maybe messing up the scale right now with, you know, the size of the plank compared to size of other things on the picture. But what can you do? Reed? Yeah, probably it's called reed roof. Let's switch the camera again so it's a little bit easier to see what's going on. Here be the rope. Alright, something like this maybe. Now, a horse head. Horse head is something that needs to be researched before. So I think I will leave it to the last moment. And for now, just do an ear. Something like this maybe is enough, but for now. It's enough to indicate that this is something horse-like, I think. Let's get to the middle ground now. Since the foreground is sort of ready, I forgot to do this part as well. Like this maybe. Don't know. Let's see how the rest goes. So, hey Chucha, welcome to the stream. Today we have stream number 20 and it's 2nd of February 2020. A lot of 2s and 0s. And for our newcomers, we are drawing wine related stuff. So in my case, it's a winery. There is a little plan on the side that's covered by the image. Maybe I will move it to the side so it's kind of more understandable, but just wine related things are kind of what we're about here today. Could be a bottle of wine. Palindrome day today, 2nd of February. Makes sense. Maybe there are some wine related palindromes. Palindrome is the thing that is reading both ways, right? The magic of numbers. So we have some bed sheets hanging out here. Yeah, this is tavern, this is the winery itself. That's kind of the idea behind this composition, at least. Oh, 02/02/2020. That's and that's reading both ways, true. That's pretty cool. Superstitious people might celebrate this day specifically somehow. Sounds like it's a magical number. There is a basket, there is the legs for this thing. I'm just using these like little lines for the grass or stones to kind of indicate that the things are connected with the ground. I don't know if that helps, but let's add also the basket here. With already clean clothing, maybe? Could be. Couch day. Couch is not a palindrome though. You can't celebrate it by doing a couch day. Although yeah, you can celebrate it however you want. It's a free day, I guess. Donkeys. Maybe there should be a donkey somewhere. We have one here. It's not really a donkey, but we can make the ears longer and then it will become a donkey. Is that good enough? And I think I want to make these poles a little thinner so they don't take so much attention. Something along these lines. That's the end of the grass here. Let's see. It kind of makes sense. What else is missing here? Like, could be like we can put a little cart here maybe, but maybe it's gonna be too busy. Let's just put a crate with a wine bottle sticking out of it. Or maybe 2. Or 3. It's a very strange crate of wine bottles. So nobody doubts that this is a winery. I think I also will add these wood separating lines here. Don't know about this part. Maybe here as well. And they kind of get closer to each other along the sides of the barrel and further from each other in the middle, and that helps to create the illusion of depth, or like this 3-dimensionality. And these lines, they theoretically go, depending on how barrel is made, but usually they go into the middle of the imaginary plane. Yeah, maybe like this. Well, horses and donkeys for me are the same toughness level for drawing, because kinda can't draw either of them. So let's put this stone shrine here. Don't know why, but I really like these like abandoned shrines everywhere in fantasy worlds, and they don't have to be abandoned. Sometimes they just these little private shrines in the vineyard. Maybe it's, you know, the prayer to the gods of winemaking or something. Let's have this here. Big gates here, not Bill Gates, big gates. Well, the country, I think it's a fantasy country. It's not the real one. Basically, I had this idea to draw something wine related every day for February, just as a challenge kind of. And so I thought, like, I will create a character who will be the winemaker, and maybe he will have like a sort of backstory, so it's more interesting, more personal maybe. Hey, Art of Gym. thanks. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, it will be some sort of imaginary. Maybe I'll just pick a country from the RPG game that we were playing with my friends a while ago. I think this stuff can be a little bit stylized. It doesn't have to be very realistic. Could be Italian or Georgian. You're right. With these winemaking regions, they share these similarities of like hills and basically hills and these kind of rows and rows of wine. Obviously that's, I mean, that doesn't surprise anyone, of course, but still it's kind of this special look. And then depending on the architectural style, you can really make it your own. You can create your own architectural style, or you can just go wild and combine a few styles, or you know, pick a style. And there in the far back, I think I still want to have some sort of soft mountains. Maybe like this, then it kind of indicates more clearly that this is a valley with these hills. Don't know if it makes sense. Let's see what we can do about this windmill to make it look less windmilly. Maybe this will help. Does this help a little bit? Yeah. Don't look at the cross. It's not a cross, it's a windmill, okay guys? People in chat think that it's a cross. Well, technically it is a cross, but not that cross that you think it is. Don't know if it's a good idea to draw all these poles, but maybe it will add something to the picture. Let's see. Today the goal is to be brave, so let's be brave with our decisions. Is this brave? Let's add maybe some little forest there, and maybe a little shed here, a little house or something like that. Maybe something along these lines. All right, we still have half an hour, kind of. So I think we can go ahead, remove all the pencil marks, or at least try to do that, or at least most of them. I forgot the birds, actually. I will add them somewhere there, maybe like that. Chicken. Oh yeah. Well, now when we cleaned it up, we can clearly see that this whole foreground place is really empty. So first of all, let's do some more precise framing, that's the word. Like this on this side, and I don't know, something. Maybe something like that above. Yeah, I will leave the horse donkey thing until the very last moment, I think, because at least drawing the details of it, because it's in the foreground, so it can be just really, you know, dark silhouette of a donkey, if depending on the sun position, but in general. Maybe that's a little too high. I think the sun should be on the horizon. I was thinking that it's kind of like behind our back in this picture, so the shadows go like that way. Like, whoop, whoop. The house and then these things. Don't know though. But it's interesting to think about the light source, because it can really change the whole atmosphere, the whole feel of the thing. It can also play for us or against us. Alright, so this is our sort of our composition right now. Let's remove some of these extra pencil marks on the sides. There is not much though. This is not Pikachu, although you can think that it's him. But it's not. Yeah, maybe this is Pikachu, Senator Palpatine, Emperor Palpatine. He shoots the lightnings out of his paws. Anyway, the idea was different. First of all, we need this part of the road still. And second of all, we need chicken, I guess, or at least some sort of animals maybe here. Something along these lines. They're huge though, if they're this big that far away. It's very rough estimation of a chicken. But it's a kind of chicken nonetheless, right? I mean, who else can it be? We didn't research chicken though. So there's some chicken. What else can we add? Maybe something in the foreground here. Maybe there would just be a shadow from this barrel. Although there won't be, because there will be a shadow from the house itself on the barrel. Unless it goes like this somehow. If the sun is very high. It's gonna go kind of like this maybe. So the shadow will be like this part, this part. This won't be in the shadow. Let's just roughly estimate. Should go in the same direction, kinda. So the sunlight is kind of going like very straight down, so it's kind of like this, the light source. And let's pretend that it's sun, so the light rays are parallel to each other, so it will be like this. This will connect to here, I guess, and then this part. So if that's the light source, then it will go alongside this part, kind of to the middle of the barrel, like this. So we know that the bottom part of the barrel will be in the shadow, and then it will also go like this. Does this make sense? Hope it does. So we'll have this light parallel everywhere. Yeah, from This side as well, it will go down. This thing is kind of casting the shadow, I guess, somewhere there. These will be also shadowed from below the chicken. This the stable also will have this, so like we can see now that all these will be in the shadow because the sun is so high up. This will be in the shadow down below. We can use this kind of as a guide for our other parts of the drawing. So this stuff will be like kind of like that. Maybe like this with these guys flapping in the wind. So we can have something along these lines, maybe. Just to kind of indicate where the shadow will be, so it will be easier for us later to estimate it. And also here I kind of messed up because the sun is shining like from behind our back, sort of. So here this will be actually no, it was alright. Yeah, that was okay, my bad. So these lines will follow the silhouette of the hill. This all will be dark. The Pikachu will be dark. This part actually will be probably only partially dark. I will get rid of all these pencil marks in a few seconds, so it doesn't matter that it's messy. Just want to see how it will roughly look. There won't be these shadows here, unfortunately. So we can bring one of the chickens maybe in front, closer to us. But the chicken will also have the shadow. This. What else could be here? Maybe. I don't know. I feel like it's still missing something, like around here. What do you guys think? Let's make the chicken permanent, by the way. Stones, like this. Maybe there is a stick. A nice stick. architect style. Thanks, Greenman Gaming, I guess. I always admired architects for their like ability to sketch really precisely. Thanks, man. Green man. Alright, let's finish it up with those chicken. Maybe one chicken is looking sideways. And it doesn't look like a chicken anymore. Damn it. Now it's like a pigeon or something. Yeah, architects are great at sketching. I think that's one of the coolest things to see. Those architectural sketches with, you know, like those kind of, these kind of trees. They do. I don't know why they do it, but you know, they often paint trees like this. And that's pretty cool, I think. Thought maybe we can draw a chicken that is hanging out in the dust, because I heard chicken do that. But that probably will look too weird in my interpretation. Maybe there is a stick laying here or laying around here. Maybe there's, oh, there could be like a wheel standing next to this thing. Maybe something like this. Does this make sense? I guess in a way. Maybe something like that. Just to have something in front that is not rectangular. Yeah, well, I kinda did. I didn't use the ruler for that. Did I use perspective drawing for this? Asks Greenman Gaming. Yeah, so I just basically did a quick, you know, just for my own reference, just like a horizon line, vanishing point, and then estimated roughly with just hand drawing the lines, and then you just kind of construct the stuff around it, right? You know, stuff like that. That kind of, I don't know, that to me that really helps, and if you do it as the first steps of your drawing, it usually helps a lot down the line. Like that, kind of. I will upload this video later on YouTube, so it will be available for reference if necessary. I think I will do the frame now, because it kind of bothering me that we don't see the frame that well. I'll make it a little bit thicker than the rest of the lines I have here. What's happening in this corner though? Let's do it like that, I guess. Let's cut the tail of this Pikachu. Sounds a little bit cruel though. Something like that. And now I think, what do you think? Should we do the watercolor wash? Like, I think I can manage to do one layer. I have 10 minutes though left. Or maybe just more details with ink. What do you say? I think maybe I'll just separate some of the things from the, like some shapes from other shapes, like, you know, this roof, reed roof from the pole with a little bit thicker line. And I think then we'll call it a day. Wait. As soon as I decided that I don't want to watercolor it now, Chuchu suggested to watercolor it. So wherever one shape is overlapping the other, or wherever there is a change of materials, I will like make the line a little thicker to separate them from one another a little better. Yeah, later, I think maybe even today, I will just watercolor it, probably. Don't want to draw too dark outside of the frame, because I kind of like this frame style that like most of the things are in the frame, but some are also outside, but not as visible or not as prominent, so to say. Since this is all, like, you know, when everything is in shadow, you don't really have to separate it, and think like here I made a mistake to separating this triangle and also this line, because this is all will be in the shadow, and in the shadow the contrast is much lower, so you don't see the difference that much. I will try not to make the same mistake here, and just kind of draw alongside the shadow line, because this is all in shadow, this is in shadow, but then this is not in shadow. So you will see different planes here. And then this is in shadow again. We can actually draw the shadow with ink, right? Nothing can stop us from doing that. And this part will be in sunlight, but this bottom part will be in the shadow. And then it goes down into the shadow and we don't see the difference anymore. Here again, this is sunlit part. This is also shadow part. Alright, something something along these lines, perhaps. So this part will be in, like it's all in the shadow, so we can basically just separate the basket a little bit from the bread. And maybe also from the barrel, but generally that's kind of it. Maybe only highlight the places where the shadow will be the darkest, which is like this place maybe. We'll also kind of highlight the separation of the materials here and there. Maybe like this. Don't know, something along these lines. And chicken will have darker bottoms, so to say, because that's where the shadow will be. The same goes with the stones. And with these bowls as well. Maybe this one will be darker on the bottom as well. Like this. Also want to separate this a little bit. Something along these lines, I guess. Alright. 5 minutes remaining. How's it going on your side, guys? I haven't checked up on you in a while. If you're drawing something along and want to share it on the stream or after the stream, we have a Telegram channel where you can use it's t.me/sketchbook. You can join there and send I don't know, your progress on the art or ask people for advice or whatever. I don't promise that anyone will give advice, but you never know. Alright, let's get rid of this the pencil lines, I think. Also, if you draw something alongside the stream and want to share it, you can post it on Instagram with the hashtag sketchbookstream. There's that on Instagram, you know, this thingy. whatever is the logo. Also, exclamation mark refs in chat will give you references for today's stream. A portrait drawing in an hour. That's really cool. Which medium did you use? Is it digital or watercolor or oil? I did self-portrait stream a few weeks ago. You can find it on YouTube, I think. And it was my first self-portrait and kind of lost for now, but it was really tough, must say. But at the same time, it's really interesting because you're looking at yourself not like you used to. Ooh, iPad for Christmas. That's great. I'm kind of thinking about getting an iPad also for digital drawing. Maybe like I was thinking about iPad mini because it's really portable, but I wonder if it's too small for drawing. Which one do you have? It's okay, Trucha. It's great to have you here anyway, so that's already good enough. And you can draw next time, maybe. Then some sort of leaves there. The 11 inches versus 12 inches. I'm kind of used to drawing in, you know, like this kind of sketchbooks. You know, I guess A5 size, and iPad Mini really does fit the size. So I wonder if the iPad, like, I feel like iPad 12 is basically like a laptop. Feels like it's a bit too big. But maybe the Pro 11-inch version is the thing for me. Yeah. If you want to use references alongside the drawing, that's... on the other hand, you can connect, using it like a dongle, you can connect your iPad Pro to a monitor with like an HDMI cable, and maybe use that as a second monitor for references. Nice to take to work, yeah. That's what I'm kind of looking for, something that's nice to take along with you, because I also used to do these street sketch Saturdays when I would go out and just draw stuff on the street. So like portability of the iPad is quite important for me in this regard. Do you work as an illustrator or some sort of drawing professional? Just curious. So something like this, and I probably will, yeah, I will definitely do the watercolor later today. I feel like this is watercolor worthy image. This windmill is kind of too close to the house to make sense. But oh well. Can't change it anymore, I guess. Freight train conductor. It's really cool to have like a creative hobby, I feel like. I don't know. I'm a UX designer, which is also not really creative. So I feel like this really gives me the way out. So thank you for your input on the iPad selection. Every time I hear people enjoying it, it gives me the little inspiration to actually buy it, because it's quite a big investment, you know, when you think about it. Alright, maybe, I don't know if I will watercolor it now though. Maybe I will just hatch it with ink pen or watercolor. Probably watercolor, alright. Okay guys, I think this was it for this stream. Thank you all for watching, thank you all for joining. I hope you had some fun, maybe doodled something along. We have Pikachu here still hanging out. Yeah, I agree. I think I'll get it. Alright. I will see you all next week, the same time, Sunday mornings here in Central Europe. And hope you will have a great week, nice day, and keep drawing something. Thanks for joining, and bye bye.